to the comic shop. I'll let you read about Cyclops. I'll have you spending all you got. Jawbreakers is looking hot. Zach.
All right, here we go. Let's roll it one more time. Big Legit back to talk about some totally awesome comic books. And today we're going to talk about what Marvel Comics did to counteract the popularity of Image. See, Image came out in the early 90s and it revolutionized the comic book industry. Marvel had to do something to compete. They had to capture the attention of the fans. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next few videos here on Testosterone Overload. We're going to go into the world of 2099, baby. This is the very first 2099 comic book released. It's Spider-Man 2099, as you can see, with our hero, Miguel O-Hara. This is from November of 1992. You see the beautiful foil cover. Look at that. They all had this beautiful foil cover on it that the kids just loved. So before we really get it, oh, check it out. This is a cool thing that used to happen back in the day. Just send one wrapper, just one wrapper from any Charleston Chew. Pick your favorite, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. I like chocolate the best. Plus 50 measly cents. And they'll send you this awesome Marvel's Collector's Edition comic book featuring 4 all-new action-packed adventures. Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Silver Surfer. And look at this beautiful artwork by Sam Keith on the cover with the lovely Jubilee, who I had a major crush on when I was a kid. So anyways, Marvel 2099 started in 1992 with this comic, like I said, November of 92. And what's interesting is that it was originally announced by Stan Lee in his Soapbox column as a single series entitled The Marvel World of Tomorrow. It was developed by Stan Lee and John Byrne. This was soon changed to Marvel 2093 because they were anticipating putting it out in the year 1993. So it would be 100 years in the future of the Marvel Universe. And of course, some genius decided, you know what, 2099? That sounds a lot catchier than 2093. So by the time it was finally put out with this book first, we had Doom 2099, Punisher 2099, Spider-Man 2099, and Ravage 2099. Those were the 4 initial installments in the 2099 universe. So this one, though, is written by legendary comic book scribe Peter David, penciled by Rick Leonardi, inked by Al Williamson. Are we going to go through it all? Rick Parker did the letters. Steve Bocciolato. I love gelato. Steve Gelato was the colorist. Joey Cavalieri is the editor. Joey Cavalieri was the editor on all of these 2099 comics, and we'll talk about that a little bit more too. Obviously, some great artwork here. This is drawn pretty bad, and this is drawn pretty bad. But this looks real nice right here. These villains trying to get him. This is a Private Eye, or excuse me, Public Eye. They were basically, you know, like the police or private security police of that time. So we don't even know who this dude is. Spider-Man 2099 leaping around, trying to get away from the cops chasing him. He even knocks a cop off of his bicycle, his flying bike. Oh, join Ghost Rider on the road to vengeance. Call 1-900-88-GHOST. It's just $1.95 for the first minute, 95 cents for each additional minute with a maximum 3-minute call. How to play. So the game is played against a 1 minute and 40-second clock. After entering your telephone number, you have 3 chances to acquire Ghost Rider's powers by pressing the star key in a timely fashion. Your first chance is between 2 and 3 seconds. Your second and third chance is between 2 and 4 seconds. 3 misses and the ride's over. You then will hear Ghost Rider's statements. Confirm true phrases by pressing the star key. If false, correct the last word in the phrase. Answer with either a number or the first 2 letters of the word, i.e. K-E for catch. Yeah, that's the last name of this Ghost Rider. And this was a real popular gimmick in the 80s and 90s, was to trick little kids into dialing a 1-900 number to play an interactive telephone game that their parents would get the bill for. Very clever. I mean, it wasn't just comic books. It was, you know, Terminator 2 had a phone line you could call. It was all over the place. You don't see this at all anymore now, as far as I know. But anyway, so Spider-Man knocks this Public Eye character off of his bike, and it saves his life, of course, too, and then goes home. And, you know, I like this, actually. Walks in and the lights pop on. Ah, lights to 1/4. Oh, better, much better. Very futuristic. Good evening, Miguel. The time is 133 hours. Outdoor temperature is 54, blah, 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 blah. And it's a holographic chick, you know. This is something we've become so accustomed to seeing in movies in the 21st century. Very forward thinking on Marvel's part here. So we keep going here. Got the hot chick, you know, he gets holographic messages, which is cool. I can't wait for this to happen in the real future. I wonder if we'll get this before 2099. The whole future that I was told we were going to get when I was a kid, like you watch Back to the Future 2, there's no hover cars. There's no hoverboards. There's no none of it. None of it. We got digital stuff still. We got the internet. That's it, the internet. And you know, if it wasn't for this channel and other channels like it, the internet would be just a wasteland of digital trash. But anyway, so he gets, you know, some calls from some friends, and his girlfriend is the last message. Miguel, are you there? Come on, honey, pick up. I'm really frightened for you. The other day when you were strung out on the drugs, I've never been so scared. So here we have a hero who is a degenerate drug addict in this comic book, and I find that very interesting. We're going to see how Marvel deals with that as we continue on here. So basically, you know, Miguel is going to enter into his journal. He hasn't written in his journal in 5 days, so he makes this journal entry that pretty much tells us how he became the Spider-Man. He's got this guy that he works with, this total jerky right here, who, you know, tries to tell him that he needs to have the respect for him and how he's the boss. When the real boss isn't around, he's the boss, and Miguel better listen to him or there's going to be trouble. And Miguel's like this snarky little twerp. He's very much like a kid from the 21st century with how snarky he is towards his elders. But his elder's a dick, so it doesn't really matter. He's like, Aaron, even you can't deny how well the work's been progressing. Of course not, but we've achieved terrific success at altering the genetic structure of test animals. And I've even found some quality research material for inspiration. Here, feast your orbs. Not your eyes, feast your orbs. His name was Spider-Man, one of the premier boys from the old heroic age, round the turn of the century. Proportionate strength of a spider. What do you mean, proportionate? It means he didn't get a swelled head about it. You want an ideal corporate raider? Imagine one that could scale walls, jump 50 feet, strong, agile. That's the direction we're going. We just can't go too quickly. Otherwise what? Otherwise we'd lose you. So we're taking it nice and slow so that you can follow along. Enjoy the book. It has lots of pictures in it. All right, you little... Which is kind of weird that he's being snarky and calling this old guy a picture book reader. Aaron's a picture book reader, yet what am I? The person who bought this comic. I guess I'm a picture book reader too. So then the big boss, Mr. Stone, shows up and wants some results pronto. Brings in this cat who has basically been arrested, and you know, they're gonna age him 40 years if he does not you know, submit himself to this test. So he volunteers for the corporate raider program instead of being forcibly aged 40 years for his crimes, whatever those crimes were. They slap the guy in here. This is kind of a fun part right here. Like the design of the transformation chamber, Aaron? Got it off an old hollow. The Fly. See, it's the chamber that the Fly. Remember that movie with Jeff Goldblum? If you haven't seen that one, kids, check it out. The Fly was pretty intense. It's about someone who turns into a totally disgusting creep. I bet you could relate to it. You can't fool me, O-Hara. You're keeping up the flip remarks, but you're terrified you're going to fall flat on your face this time. Well, you got me, Aaron. Here I am, scared about a human life at risk. What could I have been thinking? Okay, man, open her up. They open it up, and it's like this creepy creature right here who attacks Miguel and is going to basically strangle him to death, but then the thing just falls over dead. Dead. But he broke his restraints effortlessly, so this has been a very positive, accelerated strength scenario. So then, you know, Miguel can't take it. So he just basically tosses down his work badge and quits. And the boss, Mr. Stone, says, you need to relax, Mike. This is from my private stock. 1994 was an excellent year. Pour some delicious wine from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. And Miguel's like, I said I'm gone. I quit. And Stone's like, oh, no, here, have some. Have something to drink. And, you know, I was trying to get him to stay working at the giant corporation called Alchemax. And in 2099, Alchemax is referenced in every single 2099 comic book, which is something I really like. And we can attribute that to our editor, Joey Cavalieri. He made sure that this whole thing was very uniform, did a great job on it. And unfortunately, you know, this old tale, you know. So here's the iocane powder. He dumps it in the glass of wine, just like the man in black. You know, he's going to try to give him the iocane powder poisoning. And Miguel, unfortunately, has not built up a resistance to iocane powder. Oh, excuse me. It's not iocane powder. This is the Rapture. It's a very high-powered mind-expanding hallucinogen. Perfectly legal, of course. A number of Alchemax employees are already users. But my records indicate you've never availed yourself of it. I thought maybe the prohibitive expense had made you hesitate, so consider this a present. You creeping piece of... Now that I think of it, perhaps you're passed on it because Rapture is so addictive. Once it's in your system, you need it the way you need oxygen to breathe. So Miguel can't believe it. He's basically been forced into becoming a drug addict for the Alchemax Corporation, thanks to Mr. Stone, this deplorable piece of trash. This is pretty fun. So his girlfriend is working out with the hollow chick. This is very much like Total Recall. The original, the good one with Arnold, not that crappy thing with the Irish Colin whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, Dana, do some more. Don't slow down. Don't take rest. This will help to firm your... And then he walks in and stops her from saying breasts, which would have been great. Freeze program. She's, what's wrong? Miguel, what's wrong, lover? You're home early. Are you sick? Should I... Oh, get away! And he smacks the crap out of her. Oh, shock, Dana. This is great. They've replaced dirty words in the future with the word shock. So that's how you curse in the future. Oh, shock, Dana. I didn't realize it was... I thought you were... Just keep away from me. Honey, I swear. Oh, man, your face. I feel like dirt. Good. Why did you... It's the Rapture. I was fighting it, seeing monsters everywhere. Rapture? Since when do you drop Rapture? Since Tyler Stone decided to slip me some as incentive for me to stay. You were quitting Alchemax? Look at that shiner he gave her. What a jerk. It's not his fault. He's on drugs. I was, but now, I mean, the effects have finally... Let me step back for a minute. It's not his fault he's on drugs, but he didn't want to do drugs. They were slipped to him, so it's really not his fault. If you have chosen to be on drugs and you knock the crap out of a woman, that is your fault. Just so we're clear, kids. That is your fault. Don't do drugs. I was, but now, I mean, the effects have finally passed, but I can feel it gnawing at me. I'll need it again soon. But then Alchemax has my butt in a permanent sling. Listen, I have friends. Even if you quit Alchemax, I can probably get Rapture through the black market. You want me to be a lousy drug addict my whole life? I want you not to hurt, that's all. So here we have a woman offering to get him drugs every day of his life on the black market just so he won't hurt. Because he's getting the bends, kids. That's what happens when you do bad drugs like heroin. You get the bends, and then you need more heroin. But really, if you just like cut it the hell out for a few days, you wouldn't feel bad. You start to feel better. You wouldn't need the drug, but you know, that's not the mind of a drug addict. That, you know, that drug gets in there and it claws at your brain, digs its way deep in there into the gray matter. So I want drugs. Let's get drugs. And you just gotta say, no, I'm not doing any drugs. Screw you, drugs. It's very easy. But anyway, so here we have a woman offering to get her boyfriend drugs just so he won't hurt, rather than try to get him some real help. She's just gonna, oh, more drugs, that'll solve the problem. That doesn't solve the problem. That exacerbates the problem. That makes the problem way, way worse. Irks me. Anyways. So, you know, then we've got, you know, Miguel goes back into the lab to go to work and decides that, you know, the best thing he can do is use his, you know, genetic markers. Let's see, let me actually read it to you. There, I've overridden the security computer. All traces of my entering the lab have been wiped from the records. A trick that's impossible for 99.9% of Alchemax employees, but not Miguel O-Hara. Super genius. A super genius who let himself get blindsided by a smiling snake named Tyler Stone. I spent so much time talking like Mr. Overconfident that I let myself get that way. Brilliant, see? He's realizing that his snarky behavior blinded him from the real intentions of Tyler Stone and Alchemax. So let's see if I can turn some of that brilliance to my own problem. The Rapture's already bonded itself to my genetically... Wait, what? The Rapture's already bonded itself to me genetically, excuse me. By morning, I'll be a hopeless addict. My only prayer is to try to restore myself to what I was. I've already been using my own genetic code as sample working material, except I've been imprinting it on apes. Never occurred to me that I'd want to try imprinting it on myself. If this works, my genetic encoding will be what it was before. Stone's little killer cocktail. If it doesn't, then I hope for Tyler's sake that I'm the most obnoxious ghost that ever was. So basically, you know, he's going to rewrite his own genetic code to be like it was yesterday, before he had been slipped the Rapture. But then, you know, old Aaron shows up, this jerky, and a pity if something went wrong, something like, and he just starts button mashing this dirty bugger. Warning, exceeding recommended safety limit. Override, report, manual override. Oh, override, repeat, manual override. Ah! Haha, how do you like that, Mr. Genius? Mr. Smart Mouth Wisecracker? How did... Huh? I don't believe it. He's still alive and unarmed, and Aaron walks up. You know, I'm gonna tell Mr. Stone how you wrecked the equipment in some temper tantrum. That's gonna finish you. Then I'll be back in charge, doing things the way they should be. Turn around when I speak to you, boy, before I kick your butt from here to he turns him around, and it's kind of like in the old Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney Jr., where she lifts the mask off, and all of a sudden, he's a vampire. What? Next, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So there we go. Attention X-Men fans. It's a X-Men board game. I don't remember this. Wow. Very cool. X-Men Alert adventure game. More of those beautiful Marvel masterpieces. We'll get into those someday soon too. So there we have Spider-Man 2099. It was actually a pretty good start, I thought. This is a comic that did move the needle. Spider-Man 2099 was the most popular of all the 2099 comic books. And this ran until 1996. During a cost-cutting exercise, Marvel fired Joey Cavalieri, the editor, and a lot of the 2099 creators like Warren Ellis and Peter David quit in protest. And the line eventually floundered. You know, they tried to get 2 more titles out there. X-Nation 2099, which was a spin-off of X-Men 2099, another comic we'll cover here a little bit later on the Testosterone Overload. And Fantastic Four 2099, which was apparently the original Fantastic Four we're all familiar with, sent into the future. So after the sales slumped, the 2099 titles were canceled and replaced by 2099 World of Tomorrow, a single title that featured all the surviving characters in it. That only lasted 8 issues before it was canceled, but I highly recommend you go check out the 2099 line. We're going to talk about all the other ones in this line here very soon. Not all of them, but we're going to talk about a lot of them. Spider-Man 2099 was quite enjoyable. It is worth 50 cents at your local comic shop. It might be worth $1 to pick up, you know, a few issues of this. I am interested in checking out issues 2, 3, and 4 just to see what happened to Miguel O-Hara. So anyways, that's it. We're going to be back with another 2099 comic book later on tonight. So I'll talk to you then. All right, peace.